2022 NAFCEA School Board Candidate Question and Answer Forum, sponsored by the New Albany Floyd County Education Association. I am Lisa McIntyre, President of NAFCEA, and your local education association works diligently to ensure quality education for all students, because students are at the heart of everything we do. The success of our corporation and community greatly depends upon the leadership of our school board. We look forward to hearing from the candidates and encourage you to seek out further information. Please remember to vote early, or at least by November 8th. And please make sure that when you look at school board races on your ballot, remember that they're nonpartisan races and they're going to appear on a different section of the ballot. So it's my honor and privilege now to introduce Joy Lohmeyer as our moderator tonight. Joy has served as president of NAFCEA for 9 years before retiring last year. So, Ms. Joy.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks to all of you who've made an effort to come and attend this evening, including several community groups that I understand have joined us, so thank you for that. Thanks also to all of these individuals seated on the stage and with us virtually over here who have chosen to candidate for school board. That is no small commitment to make, and we appreciate your interest in public service. I have been asked to share some basic ground rules this evening for both the audience and the participants, so if you'll listen, I'll walk through those ground rules with you. So to the audience first, please understand that this is a learning event or a listen-only forum. Since we are recording this event to post online as a helpful reminder of candidate responses, we request that you refrain from making comments or noises during or after each candidate's response, and we will ask that you hold your applause until the end of the event, when I will invite you to applaud all candidates. We want everyone to be able to hear all responses clearly, both those in the room and those who might be listening later online. Now, we do realize that there may be strong opinions on a variety of the topics. We ask that everyone be respectful of the opinion of all, and to be mindful of everyone's time this evening, we request that you reach out to candidates if you have additional questions at the conclusion of our forum. We appreciate your cooperation and respect. Individuals who might choose to be disrespectful, which you look like a pretty good crowd out there tonight, thank you for coming again, might be respectfully asked to leave, but I'm sure that won't be necessary. Candidates, we will be questioning you in a round-robin fashion. Each candidate will answer each question that is posed. First, you will have 3 minutes for an introductory statement, and that will have a question embedded in it. Then you will have 1 minute to answer each of the following questions, and there's a little 10-second grace period on each of those. Please see the timer out front to help you with that. Okay, and then there'll be 3 minutes to complete your closing statement, and that will also have a little bit of a question embedded in that as well. All right, any questions from you all about this sort of question-answer ground rules? Great, all right. Do please keep your answers to the time allowed. We cannot allow you to go overtime. With this many potential candidates, we have to follow our time allotment strictly. Okay. Now, let's meet our candidates for this evening. For the first district seat, voters will be able to elect one person. The candidates are J.R. Drummond, Stephen Keenan, who I understood could not be with us tonight. He was just not available, had something else. Trent Roofing, and Melanie Stumler-Northup. For the District 2 seats, voters will be able to elect one person. The candidates are Jason Fulton, who was unable to join us this evening due to another forum commitment, Brian Topping, who is unable to attend. He needed to attend his daughter's soccer game this evening. And Leanne Weishart, we are glad to see, has been able to join us virtually. So Leanne is the other candidate for the District 2 seat, and she's on your screen over here tonight. There are 2 at-large seats on the ballot this year. Voters will be able to vote for 2 candidates in the at-large area or part of the ballot. These candidates are Connie Baugh, and she is not able to join us this evening, again, due to another commitment. And then BJ Foster. Is BJ able to join us this evening?
No.
Okay, BJ was not able to join us. So Tim Harbison, I know, is here. Elaine Gunterman Murphy. Thad Neefus. And Misty Ronau. Kevin Skinner was not able to join us. Randy Stumler. All right, did I miss anybody? Always have to ask. Okay, good deal. All right. Remember, please, that all Floyd County voters will be able to vote for all 4 school board positions, regardless of where you live in Floyd County. Okay, all 4, so District 1, District 2, and at large. All right, so we're going to start with the first question. This would be the introduction. And so here's what it sounds like. If you need me to repeat, that's okay. And just ask me to repeat if you need me to when we go down the line after here. So when you introduce yourself, please explain your interpretation of a role of a school board member in regards to board meetings, community, employees, administration, including the superintendent. And we're going to start with Tim. And then we'll move right down the line here, and we'll finish this first question with Ms. Weishard. Okay?
All right, so I'd like to start off by thanking everybody that's up here for being willing to do their civic duty and run for office. When I saw so many people were running for a school board position, it made me feel really good that that many people care about Floyd County kids and being sure they're well educated. Just to kind of introduce myself, as she said, I'm Tim Harbison, and I'm a Pineview Jaguar, Scribner Panther, Albany High School Bulldog, and I taught for 40 years. I'm currently teaching at Barrett Traditional Middle School and JCPS. This is my 41st year of teaching. I've taught in all kinds of schools, urban and rural, public and private, high school and middle school. I did time at Floyd Central High School, taught there a bunch of years, taught and coached at Albany High School in Hazelwood. Been on a lot of committees, seen a lot of things about the way the school board works, and I think probably the role of a school board member is managerial. As I see it, our goal is to hire a good superintendent who hires good principals, who hires good teachers, kind of a top-down situation. The main reason that I'm running for office is because my wife, my kids, my parents are all products of the Albany Floyd County schools, and having taught there, I've seen good teachers save hundreds of kids. And as a school board member, I feel like it's kind of my time to do some stewardship, to give back to the community what I know about most. Basically, that's kind of who I am and what I see my role as a school board member.
Thank you, Tim. All right, Elaine?
Hi. Good evening. My name is Elaine Gunterman Murphy, and I'm currently on our school board. I have been in New Albany, Floyd County for 45 years. I would like to say that's all of my life, but that's about 20 years short, so do the math. But I've been here for 45 years, and I have 2 sons. Both went through New Albany, Floyd County schools. I have worked as a second grade teacher, a special education teacher, a counselor, an assistant principal, and a principal. I have worked at Indiana University Southeast as an adjunct professor in the area of counseling, and I have worked with the Indiana Principals Association as a mentor for aspiring principals and new administrators. My role as a school board member, over the past 4 years, I have learned a lot. As a beginning school board member, I attended the workshop on that was available for new school board members and learned a lot there. Have just learned a lot over the 4 years, but we are involved with budget, policy, strategy. We are here to support public schools, and we are here to support our children. We are here to support educators and work with the superintendent and find a new superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Dan?
My name is Thad Davis. I'm a lifelong resident of Floyd County. I've served the Floyd County Sheriff's Department for the past 25 years. I'm a sergeant on that department and a team leader with the Southeast Regional SWAT team. I've never been employed by any school district. I've never ran for public office. I have one child, a 5th grader, who's enrolled at Highland Hills Middle School. I've got a daughter who graduated from Floyd Center, and she's an adult now. So I went to Green Valley, Scrimmage, and Albany myself. I think the role of the school board I think the most important role of the school right now is to reestablish good relations with our parents and families. In the community and the people I've talked to, I get the sense there's a lot of distrust and disconnect between average people and our school system for different reasons. And I think the most important thing we can do right now is reestablish that trust. For the 25 years that I've had the privilege to serve our community, I've met a lot of good people, and they deserve as good a school board as they have a sheriff's department. And I think when we open up and show them that we have their back, they'll have our back, and that's my main reason for running.
Okay, I'm going to hold up just a minute, Misty, because I realized that Christy was having trouble resetting as quickly as I was moving, so, all right, I'll watch her. Okay, all right, Misty.
And I don't have a teacher voice, so I'm going to have to use the microphone. My name is Misty Rono, and I'm the mom of an 8th grader at Scribner. I'm the graduate.
Can't hear her. Can't hear.
Can't hear?
Talking to the mic.
Oh, well, there, so yeah, I really need it closer. I'm the mom of an 8th grader at Scribner. I'm the graduate, I'm a graduate of IU Bloomington, where I earned a degree in criminal justice and sociology. I worked as an investigator for Child Protective Services before becoming a mom. I've since parlayed that experience into the world of nonprofit advocacy with a focus on youth-serving organizations. I've worn so many hats, as many of you probably have. I've been a Girl Scout leader, a PTO mom, a room mom, party planning, I am the founder of NAFC Community Connections that exists to connect schools with the needs of community partners willing to fill them. Things that are often overlooked like snacks, menstrual supplies, wipes, Kleenex. I'm currently working as the director of marketing and volunteers for the Colon Cancer Prevention Project. We advocate for mitigation of risk, support survivors, and provide resources for groups like first responders who are at a higher risk for colon cancer. I'm very active in our community, serving on the 4-H board, where I serve as a grant writer, and I support PR. I also serve on the Develop New Albany board, where I support community engagement efforts. This question about the role of a school board, I think, is very important because we not only have the oversight of the superintendent. Right now, it's selecting a superintendent who's capable and treats others with respect and allows our administrators to do their best work and really just utilize the resources that we have. But it's also, like with most boards, to look ahead into the future and manage the strategic planning for our schools. And planning for the future, that includes things like policy, budget, capital projects, ensuring that NAFCS is a desirable place to learn and work. It's our job to foster relationships with all stakeholders and advocate for the success of our schools. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Misty. Make sure we'll reset down here. All right, JR, you're up next. Oh, I'm sorry, Randy's up next. I'm sorry, that's my mistake.
That's okay.
Sure.
I'm Randy Stumler. First thing I want to do is I want to thank the Education Association for hosting this. I think it's so important to be educated as a voter, and you're out here doing that job right now, so thank you for attending as well. I also want to thank my wife and my family. Already this campaign has been more of a job than I thought it was, and without the support of my loving wife Karen and my family to get out there, who are more drafted than they are volunteering for this job, I couldn't do it without them. I am a teacher right now at Fort Knox High School. I teach science and math. Karen and I raised 6 children here in Floyd County. We live on Buffalo Trail, right about in the center of the county. My youngest graduated this year from Floyd Central High School, and we're just immensely proud of her. We attend St. Mary's New Albany Church. And right now, for the past 3 years, I worked through Fort Knox High School, but I've been detailed to the virtual school for the Department of Defense Schools, and I teach military children. Right now I teach children from all over the world. I have 10 different time zones that my kids live in. It's 4 continents. The most interesting time zone is I have a student in Australia right now, and she's 13 and a half hours ahead of us. So as if time zones weren't difficult enough for teachers and students, we've got that little half hour that we get to contend with from time to time. I grew up on Buffalo Trail. I went to IUS. I've worked various other teaching jobs throughout my career. But I want to answer that question about what's the role of the school board. And I think one of the main requirements is you have to believe in public schools. Public school employees make a difference in children's lives, and I think that public schools play a vital role in Floyd County's future. Another thing that's essential for this job of school board is you have to be willing to work with everyone. School board members, administration, employees, parents, taxpayers, but most importantly, children. And always have at the forefront in your mind what's best for our kids. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Randy, we'll get this timer reset down here. And as soon as that's reset, JR, you'll be up next.
My name is J.R. Drummond. I currently work for JCPS. I'm also president of the Kentucky Association for Career and Technical Education. This is my 21st year in education. Every one of them has been in the classroom. I did my undergrad at Indiana University Bloomington, my master's at Olivet Nazarene, and worked through my administration at Northern Kentucky University. This has been a 4 to 5 year process to run for school board. I've been asked by former students who are teachers in New Albany, Floyd County. I've been asked by parents of those youth I've coached throughout Little League and different organizations in the community to run, and I feel this is the right time for me to give back. And like Mr. Harbison said, it's a service. There's no incentive base to run other than I feel I can help and I have the capacity to answer the question of the role of the school board, to help guide policy, to help be the face of the school corporation with the community. That's an issue that has been brought up a couple times already. I think there's a disunion from what the school wants accomplished in the board itself and the community and their requests or their wants and needs. So I think my role would be as a school board member kind of mending that relationship. As far as my family, my wife also teaches. She teaches English, she teaches at South Harrison School Corporation. And I have 3 daughters who attend Prosser, Floyd Central, Highland Hills Middle School. I would appreciate your support, and I feel that at this time, this is the right time for me to run and help support New Albany Floyd County Schools.
All right, JR, thank you for your response. Since we get that timer reset, Melanie, we'll let you take off on that question.
Hello, I am Melanie Stumler-Northup, and I have grown up in Floyd County, have been here most of my life. Took a brief absence of about 11 years with my ex-husband who was moving around with Ford, so I got a chance to actually see how poorly public schools operate in other areas, which gave me an even greater appreciation for this district. I graduated in 1996 from Floyd Central and have 4 kids that are currently attending NEFCS schools. So 1 at Floyd, 2 at Highland Hills, and 1 at Floyd Knox Elementary. As a Floyd Central student, I was also part of the first orchestra program that won state. So that was a wonderful thing. I had a kiddo in orchestra. It's just a fantastic program, along with so many of the amazing programs at our schools. We are so fortunate here to have so many exceptional athletic, academic, and music and visual arts programs for our kids. It's something that I love seeing my kids take interest in. They all have different interests. I have 1 that loves sports, a couple that like different types of arts programs, and 1 in radio TV. Radio TV is, of course, one of those programs that NAFCS offers that is hard to find in a lot of schools, whether public or private. One of the interesting things about the COVID pandemic, I think, is that maybe one of the positive outcomes that came out of this is that we as parents probably have realized even more, many of us, that teaching is not our gift. So we really need to support our teachers, and that's part of why I'm here. I've always been supportive of my kids' teachers. I highly believe in our district. We have such a high level of quality already here, and I've always had great pride in our schools. And I think that that's something that we've lost a little bit in the last couple years, and that's something that I would love to help regain in our community and across the schools to get that pride back. One of the things that I think is the most important as far as an interpretation of what a school board member's role is to understand the perspectives of different people and know how to connect those. And I think that being able to listen and hear others' perspectives and see them without going on the defense is going to be something that connects our parents and administrators, teachers, and community again, so that we can move forward as a district and excel.
All right, thank you, Melanie, for your response. We'll get that timer reset. And then, Trent, as soon as that timer's ready, you can kick off your response.
I'm Trent Ruffing. I've lived in Floyd County approximately 30 years, and high school graduate, class of '94 with Floyd Central. I currently run and operate a real estate company in Floyd Knox, Indiana. I've been in the business, real estate. My title at the company is owner and managing broker of our company. So we've been doing that company since 2019, and I've been a real estate broker for 17 and a half years. I have a wife, April. We've been married roughly right at, this is being filmed, I'm sorry, about 19 years, I believe so. We have 2 kids, one a sophomore at Floyd Central, and another one, it's his first year at Highland Hills Middle School. My main reason for running was, student safety, the school safety, having like equal opportunity for our kids to learn no matter what level of their learning capabilities, wherever that's at. I think everybody should have equal opportunity as a student. School safety is my number one. The learning for our kids and our communities for their academics, that's very important to me. And school accountability for the financials, that's very important to me as well. The whole Rowan mission was, why did I want to run? And I have this asked every day by family members. Trent, why, you currently run a real estate office, you're training other agents and brokers, we're building an Airbnb property, we're doing all these different things. Why this? To me, it is very important. To me, I look back and reflected on my life and thought, what am I doing for the community? And it's always been, well, nothing. Oh, is my time up?
It is.
Gosh, that went quick.
It does go quickly.
I would appreciate your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you. Leanne, as soon as we have this timer reset, I'll let you know so that you can start. Okay, we're ready, Leanne, if you'd like to respond to the question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. First, first I want to say thank you very much to Lisa and Joy, Mr. Butcher, and Mayor, and who has allowed me to participate virtually. I know a lot to ask. You're very kind, so thank you. Just a little bit about myself. On this board, this is my 12th service. And why do I want to remain on board? Mainly because this, in my opinion, is one of the most important decisions to be made by the next board. To hire the superintendent who can drive our staff and students into the future of success in education. And it's just a critical role that I want to be a part of, and I still have calling to do it. So that's my motivation. Okay. I believe the question was playing the role of the school board. Honestly, that's dictated by the Indiana legislature. The role of the school board member is to hire, fire, and supervise the superintendent, then to be involved in policy making that drives success to our students and our staff. I will also say that I personally believe that the legislation says, in addition to, it's important to me to be an advocate at the local, state level for public education. That includes, I serve as a board director of the ISBA, which is Indiana Board Association, and we're very heavily involved later, making sure that the policies that are coming out are beneficial to our teachers, staff, and students, not hurtful, like we saw with House Bill 34. So I think that the person needs to be available and willing to advocate at the state level. So, the other thing the question asked is, what will have a role in regards to school board meetings? School board meetings are meetings held in public. They're not public meetings. That being said, picture yourself at your office, your employment, and you have a weekly team meeting. That is what the school board meeting is for. We meet, we do our business, and that's what it's for. We do have a section for public comment, which we listen, it's a listening comment, and then we take that listening into consideration and direct the superintendent to provide answers to the questions. So, what is the role of a school board member involved with the community? We need to listen and be the ears and the voice for the community.
Leanne, 5 seconds.
By doing that, we also, as a board member, understand, know, and respect the chain of command. It's very important. We
Ms.
only
Lockhart?
supervise the superintendent.
Yes.
Your time is
We're
up.
not micromanaging.
Leanne, can you hear me?
What's going on in all the buildings we say.
Leanne,
Now, with that being said, as far as the relationship with the community, I have relationships with teachers, with I done?
Time, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, okay.
All right. Thanks, Leanne. Sorry, I was asking with the mic if you could hear me and you could not. So I think Lisa will be back there trying to help you with the timing. All right. Thanks for those introductory comments, everyone. We'll move on to question 2. So I'm going to read through question 2 if you need to jot down anything while I read through this for you. So question 2 is, tell us about one time as a leader you had to overcome a challenging situation and gain consensus. So again, tell us about one time as a leader you had to overcome a challenging situation and gain consensus. And we will start this time with Elaine.
Over my years of working in public education, there have been many times when I have been faced with a challenging situation. My role at Mount Tabor was assistant principal, and at Mount Tabor we had a high population of students with special needs, very special needs. And each year we would meet with the parents and do an annual case review, write the student's IEP, and we had students who were medically fragile, had cognitive delays, and parents would come to the annual case review, and it would be very hard for them.
5 seconds.
And we would have to reach consensus at every meeting, and we would.
Thank you for that, Elaine. And just to remind everybody, we're down to our 1-minute questions. I probably should have reminded you of that first. Sorry about that. So we're to our 1-minute questions. And we do have a little 10-second grace period, but we'll try to stick to the 1 minute as closely as possible. Okay? All right. So Thad, we're up for you for this question as soon as she's ready. You go.
Being a team leader on the Southeast Regional team, people think of it as quasi-military. It is, but it's not top-down dictatorship. So in the operation we go on, we have multiple team leaders, 4 on our team. We get together and together come up with our ops plan to take down whatever the tactical objective is. And it's a high-risk, emotional time when everybody's amped up, and even in that setting, we have to come to an agreement. We're dealing with all alpha personalities and guys that have their own things of how they think it should go down. So again, it's not a matter of someone coming in over the top of them and ruling it. You have to come to a consensus in that environment. You're getting ready to go out and put other people's lives in jeopardy. So there's pretty much every operation is that way.
All right. Thank you for your response. We'll get that timer reset.
Thank you.
Misty, as soon as you see that reset, go ahead and you may start.
I was asked to serve as the chairman of the Political Action Committee for the School Safety Referendum. We scheduled our very first big group meeting during spring break, just before COVID derailed life as we knew it. We had an amazing group of people, and it was constantly assessing and reassessing what our strengths were, what our challenges were, and triage. We were triaging. You know, that team was primarily comprised of teachers and admin, and those people were facing challenges they'd never imagined. I mean, they'd never imagined. And I was shocked every day to see how we just trudged forward, and it was amazing. And I'm really grateful for that experience because we were able to begin a very, very public conversation about school safety. And honestly, I never would have imagined it would have been as important as it was.
All right, Randy, you're up next as soon as she's ready.
I think my situation comes from a few years ago when I was the math department chairman at my school, and we were going through scheduling at the end of the year, and everybody's trying to figure out, you know, you've got your specialty and you've got the classes that you want, but there's always a few classes that are kind of oddball. They're going to add to your schedule. They're going to add to your workload. You may be teaching 3 or 4 different things. And we went through that as a math department. We decided what was best for everybody, and then we were down to the nitty-gritty. And the resolution was, I took the extra oddball class. I took the extra prep. I taught it that year, and I thought, as a leader, what I was trying to say is, I'll take the hit for you this time, because I think that's the right thing to do.
All right, thank you, Randy. JR, as soon as she has the timer reset, you can begin.
The challenging situation as a classroom teacher actually happened 5 times today, because every period is a challenge, and you have to get consensus at the end of every period. I teach performance-based education, career and technical education. There's no, you just move on, we'll learn it later. You have to get it right, and you have to do it the first time, maybe not, the 10th time, maybe not, but it has to be done right. So consensus is very important in every period I teach, and I feel I'm very fine-tuned for that because I have another 5 challenges tomorrow to get consensus, so that would be the most recent.
All right, thank you, JR. All right, Melanie, you'll be up next as soon as we have the timer reset. All right, I think we're ready.
I am a mortgage loan officer, and if any of you have ever gotten a mortgage, you understand that sometimes that can be an adventure, and that also sometimes we can't count every penny of your income that you actually make due to our guidelines. So the challenge that I have really on the norm sometimes is connecting the dots for my clients and diving deep and analyzing where I can put the pieces of the puzzle together by working with the title agent, with the realtor, with the insurance agent, whatever it is that I can do to make those pieces of the puzzle work so that at the end of the day, my client is able to buy a house. So unfortunately, I work that puzzle more often than I would like to, but I'm grateful in the fact that I don't often fail.
Okay, thank you for your response. And Trent, you'll be up next as soon as we have this ready. All right, we're all set.
So our office meetings that we host monthly, you know, there was more about, in the very beginning of growing our office was, what do I want? Where do I want this meeting to go? And in the beginning, it was not about that. It was about the consensus of everyone in our office. What is your input? Where do you stand? What talent, what ideas do you have that you bring to the table? So that's kind of one of my ahas for, say, the last year is it's not all about me. It's to be a good leader, it's about other folks and their ideas. Thank you.
Thank you, Trent. All right, Leanne, if you're ready and can hear me, I believe the timer's ready, so you can begin.
Okay, I will respect it. Excuse me. The most recent things that I can tell you about consensus has been when we as a board had to discuss personnel matters of our former superintendent. That was a very difficult and challenging conversation. And then also there were some COVID-related decisions that we had to reach consensus on in regard to health and safety of our students and staff. So consensus to me is lots and lots of listening and the willingness to be flexible without compromising your conviction. And I think we have 7 passionate board members now who are intelligent and bring a lot of edge to the table. So it's important that with your differences, you listen and you learn and you're going to be flexible, stay true to your convictions.
Thank you, Leanne. All right, we're ready for question number 3. did all right?
I get to talk though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I forgot that I started with Elaine that time. Keep me on my toes. All right, it's good. Tim, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, wait until she's ready. Yeah.
So when I was a member of the Central Discussion Committee of New Albany Floyd County Schools, we had the problem with understaffing. There were first and second grade teachers with 35 kids in their classroom. We had one Spanish teacher that had 200 kids on her roster and 45 kids in a class. And those numbers were not positive for the students or the kids. And when we bring it up, the administrative team would kind of give us a patronizing look and say, well, we'll look at those numbers. But over time, with persistence, eventually some of the pet projects were kind of curtailed, and there were more Spanish teachers hired at Floyd Central, more elementary teachers hired. So sometimes it just takes a little persistence to find consensus.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, do keep me on the straight and narrow, just in case. All right, I've got my little list up here, but just in case. All right, so we are ready for question 3 at this point. All right, so question 3 is explain how you will support all students' rights to learn in a safe and equitable learning environment. And I do not envy you trying to answer that in 1 minute, but I'll repeat it again. Explain how you will support all students' rights to learn in a safe and equitable learning environment. And this time we'll start with Thad. So Thad, as soon as you're ready.
It's strange, that's a hard question. Today, I don't think that would have been a hard question a while back. But I think the way to make sure that happens is treat all students equally. All students equally. They're all just kids going to school. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what sex or gender they are. They're all just kids. They're there to get an education. They're there to be taught. It's not a place to go crazy with expression or experimental processes. It's a place to educate our kids. And they're all just great kids. Every single one of them. And they deserve a great education. Our teachers are great too. We just can't have someone taught differently for any reason. They're all the same. This is a simple answer to a question that shouldn't be hard, in my opinion.
All right, thank you for your response. All right, Misty, when we get our timer set up, I'll pass you the microphone back there.
Well, my answer is actually pretty short. I think that, that I absolutely support efforts to nurture and educate all children. Not only is it the right thing to do, it's our absolute duty to deliver inclusive, age-appropriate learning for these children. And I think that most of that is covered by treating others with respect. That should be our default all the time, no exception. And honestly, I appreciate what Thad said about equality, but really what we should be striving for is equity. We have a very, very diverse population, and we need to work really hard to meet the needs of our children where they are. That will better serve our community. So, and that changes over time. It's ever evolving, just like our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your response. All right, Randy, when we get this reset, we'll let you be taken off here. Okay.
All right, as for equitable, a lot of that is just about following the law and knowing what school law is. But getting beyond that layer of just following the law, as teachers, you just have to love children. And you have to do what it takes to get them in, to get them learning. We know that our students are coming from varied backgrounds all the time. You don't know if this is their best day or this is their worst day, but you're going to take them in, you're going to take them into that classroom and love them, and then you're going to get them what they need. Get them into the flow of things, get them learning, and I think a lot of this comes from the heart, and that's part of what being a teacher is. That's why a lot of people get into the profession, is because they want to make a difference in their community.
Randy, thanks for your response. All right, JR, we'll get that timer reset, and you can begin.
So I'll answer this as with my school board hat on and not a teacher hat on. I think school board wise, you have to bring in all the shareholders. You have to have input from very areas, not just, well, what's this person say? And then you can create common sense curriculum with integrity, accountability that is equitable to all kids. And like Randy said, it's about passion in the classroom and developing a culture to where no matter who walks in, you want to see them succeed. And as far as school board policy, school board bringing in shareholders, and the school board see it as supporting the higher professionals, teachers and administrators, to input the policy.
All right, thank you for your response. All right, we'll reset our timer once again. And Melanie, we'll be ready for you. And you can start.
So the way I would support our kids' rights to learn is that the most basic is that kids have a right to learn in an environment that is as free of distraction as possible. I believe that coming out of COVID has produced a lot of distraction in the way of political and social issues that has been a real challenge for our kids and our teachers in the classrooms. And I think that these are things that need to be addressed and minimized and really just taking the focus off of the political and social issues. These are kids, these are things they should not have to be worried about. They should be concerned with their studies and their education. They don't need to be worried about politics or social issues in our communities at this point. So that is probably the thing that I would support the most, as well as even reducing screen time and distractions that would help the mental health of our kids and put them on a level playing field again.
Thank you, Melanie, for your response. All right, Trent, since we're ready here, and begin.
Something that disturbed me, I was filling out a form talking about where my thoughts were on student segregation for kids that were actually always in trouble versus the kids that are always academically on top versus kids that had learning disabilities. And I got to thinking, what kind of question is that? I mean, to segregate, these kids from these kids, and for me, it's all about quality and equality. About no matter what stage of the learning process they're in, every kid needs to be treated equally. Period.
All right, thank you for your response, Trent. All right, Leanne, our timer's reset, so when you're ready, you can begin.
Okay, thank you. First of all, this the Albany, Floyd County Consolidated Curriculum. I have no verbiage that says the or those students. It is our students, OUR, period. The policies that we make and we follow and edit and create clearly state students and staff. There is no distinguishing or discrimination in any of the policies, nor should there be. But as a board member on this particular topic, it's crucial that we hire a superintendent that understands the importance of the climate and the leadership that is needed at the superintendent level to trickle down into all our schools so that they understand and know there's no tolerance for any kind of discrimination or bullying, that they will be held accountable on all levels, not just the students. But if we have staff that they're not accountable to, so that's the role for the board to make sure that happens.
All right, thank you, Leanne, for your response. Tim, as soon as we have the timer reset.
So if you spend any time in the classroom at all, it doesn't take very long to figure out that every child that walks in your door comes in with different gifts and different baggage. And the extent of that can be very wide, very wide. As a school board member and as a teacher, it's like walking on the edge of a roof. You want to do as much as possible to help every one of those children move ahead. But at the same time, you cannot sacrifice an environment that allows every kid to learn. And so it takes somebody that really understands what's going on to meet individual needs as far as possible and yet maintain that learning environment that's sane and every kid can take advantage of. So it's a really tough job.
Thank you for your response, Tim. All right, and Elaine, as soon as we have the timer reset.
Okay, thank you. We are a public school system, and public schools are for the public. Anyone who shows up at our door, it is our responsibility to give them a free and appropriate public education. That means if you are super bright and you need to be in classes for accelerated learning, we need to do that. If you have a hearing impairment and you need an interpreter, we need to do that. We need to meet the needs of all of our students and use common sense and use the golden rule. Treat all of our kids the way we would want to be treated.
Thank you, Elaine, for your response. All right. We're up to question number 4. All right, deep breath, everybody. Everybody out there doing all right? Okay, all right, question number 4. And on this question, we'll start with Misty. Okay, but have your pencils ready. All right. What is the role of the board in working with the New Albany-Floyd County Education Association and their role in the schools? So what is the role of the board in working with the New Albany-Floyd County Education Association and their role in the schools? We'll start with Misty. Whenever you're ready, Misty.
Well, I think that the board really is responsible for advocating on behalf of public education. And part of that is respecting that NAFCEA is the representative voice of our teachers. It's imperative to do that, to respect and foster their ability to have appropriate channels of discussion and collective bargaining. I'll specifically work to continue to strengthen relationships between all parties involved and reinforce my belief that our teachers are our partners in raising your future and our most valuable assets. I know a lot of this discussion gets segmented, as in there are stakeholders with different priorities, but I think in the end, the priorities are the same, and it's our responsibility as parents and stakeholders to nurture those relationships.
Misty, thanks for that response. Randy, as soon as the timer's ready, you may begin.
All right. I think the role of the board working with the Education Association is just to be honest and forthright when dealing with especially money matters, and letting teachers know what is available, letting staff know what is available. But we're reaching a time of a teacher crunch, and there's going to be a shortage. There's already a shortage of workers. There's going to be a shortage of teachers not too far along. This is well predicted. And so we're going to have to change some things. We need to remain strong as a school system, and we need to attract the best and the brightest to come here or to remain here in Floyd County. And I think keeping salaries and benefits competitive is going to be part of that equation.
All right, thank you, Randy, for your response. JR, as soon as we have the timer reset, you may begin.
I think Randy hit the nail on the head talking about teacher shortage and crunch. And if New Albany-Floyd County School is going to be competitive in the best district in Southern Indiana, which is my goal as a board member, would be you partner with the Education Association, Teacher Association, and you create the best package available. And you get the best people here, and you have high standards, and require them to be the best. They're the ones that make it happen. They're the ones that are equitable in the classroom. They're the ones that are making sure no child is left behind. They're the ones making sure our kids are successful after they graduate high school. So it has to be a great partnership. It has to be, like Randy said, honest and truthful and forthright, everything on the table.
All right, JR, thank you for your response. We'll get this reset real quickly. All right, Melanie, I think we're ready.
The role of the board working with the Education Association really should just be one of support. Teachers are our greatest asset, and they are what's putting out our product, our kids. So we cannot function if our greatest asset isn't happy or if they're not being taken care of. If we are going to excel at the highest level as a district, then we have to take care of our teachers at the highest level also. If we want to retain them, keep them happy, attract others like them, and keep our students succeeding.
Thank you, Melanie. All right, Trent, you'll be next up here shortly. All right, we're ready.
I'm all about systems, having proper systems, whether it's about school safety, whether it's about finding the talent that the school needs for teachers, staffing. Those are some of the roles as a school board member that I think is very important, is to make sure that we keep the talent, we retain the talent, and we get new talent. That's going to be highly important. Thank you.
Thanks for your response, Trent. All right, Leanne, we have the timer reset, so when you're ready, begin.
The role of the board in this question is to direct, trust, and supervise the superintendent and his administrators to work with the Education Association in a spirit of respect, collaboration, and focus on what's best for our teachers. And for the board member, it's important to do research and have clarity on every recommendation that's brought before you, that especially as regards teachers. And I will say that I was the only board member that voted no to the last teacher raise, because I was advocating that we give them more money, because there was more money there to give. So you have to bring that advocacy for teachers to every vote that asked about. Also, we must be willing to work with legislators. It's just like ISD President Kevin Campbell said after this last legislation, we've got to work with legislators to unite things that benefit all students.
Thank you for your response. All right, Tim, I think we're ready.
Retaining teachers is not just about money. The Teachers Association is not just about money. It's about quality of working conditions. Teachers stay when they're happy where they work. Teachers do a better job in the classroom because they know what's going on in the classroom when they're given a seat at the table. And I would contend that a strong Teachers Association makes the bosses better bosses. Because if someone asks them, let's say, to put 34 kids in an elementary classroom or 45 kids in a Spanish classroom, they could say, oh no, our Teachers Association won't stand for that. So when you talk about quality of education in the classroom, that's what retains teachers. And that's why you need a Teachers Association. It's not about money.
Thank you for your response, Tim. Elaine, when we have our timer reset, you may begin.
Okay, thank you. I would say that we are the best corporation in this area. And the reason that we are the best corporation in this area is because we hire the best teachers that we possibly can. And we do that with competitive pay, with safe working environments, and giving teachers the respect that they are due. We hire good people, we support good people, but we also hold those people accountable. And that's why we have academic excellence all across the board. It's why we have safe schools, and we respect teachers as professionals. If there's anyone in here that could take a kindergartner on the very first day and have them writing a paragraph by the end of the year, then you are truly a professional, and you know what you're doing, and you deserve respect.
Thank you for your response. All right, Thad, we're back around to you, and I think we're ready. You may begin.
Okay. I don't think you'll find anybody up here that says they don't support teachers 100% unless they want to end their campaign right now. Like 100%. And everybody's up here that is a teacher can never do your job. Having said all that, I think I can say that there's and I'm not, I'll be honest, I tell everybody I don't know what I don't know. Maybe the Education Association is not technically a union, I'm assuming it is.
It is.
Okay. There's a lot of distrust for teachers' unions right now. I want our teachers to be paid the best around, just like someone else already said. I want the best teachers. I look at teachers the same way I do cops. They're a necessity for our community, and I want the best. If going through the union is the way we do that, that's fine, as long as everyone's bargaining in good faith. I was on the bargaining committee for our police, for the sheriff's department, so I'm kind of familiar with that process, but it's got to be straightforward and honest.
Okay, thank you for your response. All right, so we're up to question number 5. All right, and this takes us in a little different tack. Okay, just a little bit different thought process here. So question number 5 will be: do you support outsourcing school services and support services? Do you support outsourcing of school services and support services? And we'll begin this time with Randy.
Pass, because I don't want to go first. Just kidding. Short answer is no. I think we're better off hiring employees and keeping employees, and we can, for lack of a better word, control those employees better when there are employees. When the principal is in charge of the employees in his or her building, that makes that principal more flexible to make better decisions. For us to outsource, and I know we have already, but for us to outsource, that would have to be a very convincing argument on why we need to do that, and maybe not necessarily, maybe the dollars don't outweigh the benefits that we get from keeping those employees in-house.
All right, Randy, thanks for your response on that. JR will be ready here in just a second. All right, when you're ready.
The short answer for the best is no, it is not the best. I think principals should control the employees in the building and have oversight of the employees in the building. But in all reality, if we don't have the people to do that job, then we have to find the best situation. If we do have to go that route, then that needs to be an open bid process. It needs to be, all the cards on the table, make sure there's not inside deal for a certain company to get a job or to retain a job. But I do agree with kind of Randy's point of view on that. If we can have the people in our building and employees of New Albany, Floyd County that take pride in being an employee, that is the best case scenario. But sometimes, if we do have to outsource positions, then it just needs to be like all government, where it is open bidding and open to the best possible replacement.
All right, thank you so much for your response. All right, Melanie, I believe we're ready. Whenever you're ready to begin.
I'm going to agree with Randy and JR. Ideally, I do not support outsourcing because I do feel like as a true employee of the school system, these people are going to have more invested, they're going to be more loyal. I think that you will get higher job performance from people who are direct employees of the district, in addition to building in our community and building its confidence. A few people that I've spoken to about outsourcing seem to be very disgruntled and feel that it has hurt the overall environment for employees in the schools. And I think that it's important overall to maintain a positive environment. If we can keep all of that in-house, I think that that is what really improves our schools as a whole from the ground up, because those people are very vital in addition to our educators.
Thanks for your response, Melanie. All right, Trent, looks like we're ready. You may begin.
Outsourcing, the answer would be no. The reason why is, and the answer could also be yes. So if there is a problem and that problem cannot be fixed, then the answer would be yes, outsource. But if there is no problem and the source can be fixed, absolutely keep it in-house. Some problems can be fixed, and it takes another company with better expertise. It just has to be logically analyzed to see what makes more sense.
All right, thank you for your response. We're resetting the timer. All right, Leanne, we have the timer reset.
That promote fiscal responsibility. It would be irresponsible, in my opinion, to dismiss looking at outsourcing services, especially those that could best meet the needs of our corporation financially and additionally to our staff. For example, most of our social services with social workers, those are outsourced. The estimate, we have been able to put more social workers in our schools, which in essence is outsourcing. We're going outside of our, to get these people to come in, and those services have been critical and crucial to the mental health of our kids and our staff, and that is a trickling effect into safety. When our kids' mental health is addressed, then yes, our schools are safe. So when it comes to outsourcing, I am a fan of some of it, but it needs to be fiscally.
Leanne, thanks for your response. All right, Tim, as soon as we have the timer reset, you may begin.
If you were teaching before our maintenance crews were outsourced and after our maintenance crews were outsourced, there's no doubt in your mind that the quality of work went way downhill because the people who are working in our schools took no pride in that particular school. Okay? Now, if we want to talk financial responsibility, when you haul people from Louisville in a van to our school and they clean our school and you give them a paycheck, where does that paycheck go? Back across the bridge. It's not spent in a Floyd County or New Albany business. So you can't, if you say that's fiscally responsible, you're being very short-sighted to our community, right? You need to hire Floyd County people and keep that money in Floyd County.
Thanks for your response, Tim. Elaine, Elaine, when you're ready.
All right, thank you, Christy. I know that's a tough job, but I agree with my colleague, Ms. Weishart. We have to be fiscally responsible. And sometimes there isn't an easy answer. If we had an unlimited budget and we could keep everyone in-house, and they had a sense of belonging, that would be ideal. But we don't have an unlimited budget, and we have to be fiscally responsible. And we outsource our custodial services, and we have many fine people that work in our buildings right now and keep our buildings safe, and keep them clean, and keep them marketable. We also do social services that we outsource. We also do ABA therapy for our special needs students. We need to do that within our budget. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Elaine. All right, Thad, when you're ready.
Okay, I think just based off what I'm hearing, I think it depends on what the position is. For the cleaning staff, my opinion is I don't know how you keep things safe and vet every single one that comes to your school to clean that situation, because a little bit that I know about those kind of services, the turnover can be high. You get a different person every time. If you don't know who you're getting, how are you going to keep your kids safe? That's a problem. For something like a social worker that's more of a professional career, I think that would be different. You're probably going to get that same social worker every time. So I say, ideally, no on every level. Outsourcing wouldn't be the best thing to do. But definitely, in a custodial situation, you're probably getting more than one person, and maybe a different person throughout the week. I don't think that's a good idea to have them intermingling with our kids. We don't know who's coming in and out of the schools.
All right, thank you for that. And we're almost ready here. Misty, when you're ready, go ahead.
To Leanne's point and Elaine's, when we're talking about LCSWs, we're talking about mental health staff, we can't afford to staff the number of LCSWs that we would need to provide services for, because we just can't. And that's unfortunate, and we should really work to change that. But when it comes to custodial staff, I want to say I generally stay away from anecdotal stories, right? But at my daughter's elementary school, we had a very beloved custodian suffer a heart attack while on the job. And the fire department responded and treated him, and he refused ambulance service to the hospital because he did not have adequate health insurance. And I think that unless you've witnessed that, you don't really understand that that is the plot that's dealt to these people that work in our school and care for our children. Thank you, Christine.
Misty, thanks for your response. All right, deep breath, everybody. All right, the next question is maybe a little more positive overall, where you don't have to maybe think quite as hard, all right? But basically, we want to know, what do you think is great about our school district? What do you think is great about New Albany, Floyd County schools? And JR, as soon as that timer's ready, you can start.
That's tough to answer in a minute because we have great programs. We have great extracurricular programs. I don't care if you throw a ball, play an instrument, sing. I love all activities. I think all kids should be involved in activities. And that's one of the strongest attributes of our district, is we have a lot of kids involved at a high level. I'm very passionate about getting more and more kids involved and more teachers involved, and almost making that a requirement, graduation requirement, that every kid should be involved in an extracurricular activity. That's one of the great things of high school, of middle school, or elementary school, is when you graduate, post-secondary, or you're in the community, you have those relationships that you built through those teams, or through those clubs, or through those choirs, or plays, or whatever activity you're involved in.
All right. JR, thank you for your response. Melanie, when you're ready, go right ahead.
It really is hard to narrow that down in a minute, because there is so much that's great about our district. One of the things that I've learned really just recently is that we offer an IB degree. When my now sophomore went into his freshman year, I really had no idea what an IB degree was. And Floyd Central is the only school, I believe Evansville is the next closest, that offers the IB program. I think that that's huge. I think that there are things like that that our community doesn't even know that the district offers, in addition to the huge amount of programs and options for every kid, every personality of kid, whether they're a theater kid or they're an athlete or they want to be a hands-on learner and go to Prosser. There are so many opportunities in this district that, honestly, I think I learn something new every year when they start a whole new school year, because there's too much to know going into it.
Melanie, thanks for your response. Trent, when you're ready, go right ahead.
I would agree. New Albany Floyd County Schools is, in my mind, the best schools in the area. The important thing to know is there's always room for improvement, which is Do I know all aspects of every area of improvement? No. But being part of the school and the school board, I'm eager to learn every aspect of the schools, school functions, programs. Definitely going to make that my go-and mission. It's going to be like going back to college again and you know, learning every aspect of everything. That is my goal, and thank you.
Thanks for your response, Trent. All right, we're going to get this reset. And while we're doing that,
That's great. Well, that's a long answer, a short answer, that's not great. But anyhow, what's great is our teachers, some of our administrators, our students, and our parents. And I will say that after COVID, I think that we as a corporation and our parents and community learned just how strong our staff is. During the peak of COVID, I think that our teachers and administrators, parents, students, it's like a Burger King mentality. You can have it your way. We were trying to do everything possible to deliver the highest part of education to every kid, meeting the need, their virtual access, their ability to get to human transportation. So that's really proved how strong our corporation is. Our teachers have great curriculum and are awesome with working with administrators and making sure that everything is what we need to state standards, but also what the kids need. Our teachers know how to be here. I love it.
all right, thank you for your response, Leanne. And while she's getting that set, I'll just tell you that the next question, after we finish this one, will be the final question of the evening. Okay, so for everybody, next question will be the final question of the evening. All right, so Tim, you're going to go ahead and talk to us about what you think is great about the school district.
The legacy of great teachers is what's great about our school system. I had the pleasure of attending the New Albany High School Hall of Fame banquet on Sunday. A friend of mine, a great school buddy of mine, and all the successful people in so many different areas of endeavor as adults immediately listed 5, 6, 7 teachers from the Albany Floyd County system who had impacted lives and changed their lives. And then to see the children of these teachers and the grandchildren of these teachers also becoming teachers and teaching in the Albany Floyd County system tells you why, as a community, this is a good school corporation. Because family after family is banking on the Albany Floyd County schools.
Thanks for your response, Tim. Elaine, as soon as we have that reset. All righty.
It would take more than a minute to answer this question effectively, but I would say it's people, people, people. Our students, our families, our teachers working together. You can take beautiful buildings like this, wonderful technology, fabulous books, but if you don't have good people inside those buildings using those materials, it would mean nothing. So people, people, people.
Thanks for your response, Elaine. All right, Thad, as soon as we have this ready. All righty, you can begin.
I agree that the greatest thing about the district is the community itself, everyone. I mean, look how many candidates you have here ready for school board. And it's not because you don't have something better to do. It's because it's important. And it's important to all you all to show up. And that's, to me, the most important, the greatest thing about a district is people care. They care about the kids they send to the schools. They care that the teachers are compensated. They care that the buses run in the mornings and the afternoons. And we don't just sit back and care, we take action. And that's the kind of community Floyd County is. To me, that's the greatest thing about it. On a side note, I think that Prosser's also amazing. the opportunities that that place provides. Dr. Lanu gave me a tour of that place, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just, I'm lack of words, so that's it.
All right, thanks for that response. Misty, you'll be up next as soon as we're ready.
So I agree that what makes us great is a longer than a 1 minute answer, but opportunity and preparation for success, I think, are very, very important. We have technical programs and programs to graduate students with college level credits. These types of programs put our students at an advantage to graduate sooner than their peers, take on less debt, and begin their careers. We are beyond fortunate to have an excellent and consolidated school corporation. We have teachers, staff, admin, bus drivers that go above and beyond to provide an incredible educational experience for our children. And community support is unparalleled at NAFCS. Anyone who's attended the Education Foundation Gala knows that we have a very powerful community that rallies for our school.
All right, thanks for that response. Randy, we'll be ready for you in just a second here. All right, there you go.
My son was at Floyd Central, and he was having it was just a general not fitting in, not feeling welcome sort of moment. And he found a teacher that invited him in and said, I'm sorry, he could come in any time that he felt unsafe. And not only did that make my son feel good, it made our family feel safe and welcome, like he belonged and he would be taken care of.
Thanks for that response. And we're down to our last question, candidates. You can smile now. All right, maybe you all can smile too. All right. All right, so the final question, and this is your closing. So this is a 3-minute. Okay, you each get 3 minutes to respond. Okay. So in your closing, please tell us how you would go about making decisions as a school board member. In your closing, please tell us how you would go about making decisions as a school board member. And we'll start with Melanie.
I tend to make decisions by asking questions. I like to gather information from different perspectives, different types of people who have different roles within the organization. Because honestly, it's hard to come to a good decision without understanding each different set of perspectives within the group. So, and honestly, and really without taking those into account, you won't have arrived at the right decision, I believe. So, I think that it's just very important overall that people be willing to hear others, to even be willing to try to think outside of the box and see those perspectives before they even have to ask the question. Just try to put yourself in another person's shoes. If you were doing their job and if you were doing what they're doing all day, every day, how would you feel and how would you want to be treated and how would you want the issues at hand to be addressed? So, and with that being said, we have such an incredible group in the school system, a great set of parents, teachers, the community at large. Parents are so involved in this district. I see the PTO groups that are absolutely everywhere. Programs like Best Buddies out at Floyd Central that has really joined so many kids and parents and teachers together that it's really impossible to summarize all of the great things in this district, even into 3 minutes. But I have a great amount of pride for this district. I love the schools myself. I want my kids to love the schools the way I have. And I want our community to love our schools too. I think that many of us do. But I do think that there are things that we can do to move forward to foster an even greater love for these schools within the community, which is of course going to strengthen them from within. So the more we can hear each other as parents listening to teachers, keeping that open line of communication instead of being defensive if our kid comes home and we're upset about something, It's so important to ask questions before you jump to a conclusion, no matter who you're dealing with. It's important to figure out the proper channels, and I think that helping our community and parents to understand what the proper channels are within our district and what each role of those people are will only help the district even more because it'll avoid miscommunication.
All right, thank you for your response. All right, Trent, I think we're ready.
Thank you.
Sure.
Making decisions as a school board member, it's not about, you know, my decision. Everybody, you know, it's a group, teamwork. You know, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. If there is a topic and that is not my strength, I'm happy to sit back, well, A, educate myself at my fullest, but B, find out, you know, other board members, you know, where are their strengths at. It's not all about what I think something should be. I would love to, but life doesn't work that way. So teamwork is collaboration, finding out other people's strengths, weaknesses. That's basically the biggest part of how I would personally make any decision, especially if that's not my strength.
All right, thank you for your response, Trent. Leanne, give us just a second to reset the timer. And tell us about your decision-making process. Okay, Leanne, we're ready.
Okay, how would I go about making decisions? First of all, importantly, each board member needs to understand the role of the board member. Stay in your lane. We have specific designated legislation that dictates what the role of the board is. The only employee that we supervise is the superintendent. That doesn't mean we don't listen to other entities because that is important. But our work is through supervising the superintendent and through crafting and drafting and editing policy. So that's how we do things for people. That's why it's so important that we hire a superintendent that we can trust, take us to the next level and lead by relationship building. Also, when I make decisions, I trust but I verify, which includes asking questions. If you say to me, this is a recommendation that we need for our students, then I'm going to say 3 things to you. I'm going to say, what are we doing now? Prove how this recommendation is better for our students and staff. And what is the financial impact? Those are the 3 main questions that I ask on every recommendation, because those are the ones that are most important. I think it's important as a school board member, you have to be able to stay true to your convictions and be able to make decisions in a collaborative and consensus manner, but also not be afraid to say no to something, to go along to get along, you know what I mean? It's important that you convey why you feel the way you do, and that you've done the research or your vote, honestly. But the decisions are made through recommendations and your vote. Board members have no authority to make any decisions outside the board meeting. No one board member has the ability or authority to make a decision. It is a unity between 7 people, and I will say we have 7 people now on the board who are passionate about kids, who have different personalities, but yet I have learned from each of them. So in order to reach consensus when making decisions, you have to be flexible. You know, I've gotten conviction, especially over COVID, and honestly, a personal matter where one of my best friends almost died. So they put things in perspective to me that I need to be a better person, work better with people together, listen more, be flexible, and be willing to say no if that is truly the conviction that you have for what you believe is best for our students and our staff. My decision making is based on those three questions. What are we doing now? Prove to me how what you're bringing to me is better for our students and staff. And what is the financial impact? Do we have the burden to make sure that we're doing things responsible and getting the resources that our students and staff need?
Leanne, thanks for your response. Tim, when you're ready.
When I first decided that I was going to run for school board, I think it's fairly obvious that I brought some pretty strong opinions with me from my years in the classroom. But I also realized that this isn't just about me. So the first thing that I did was I consulted with parents who currently have kids in NAFC schools and teachers who are currently in the classroom. And from there, I came up with the points that I thought were important for us to try to address. Now, I realize what Ms. Weishart said is that our official duty is all to hire the superintendent, but being involved with the superintendent and assistant superintendent, possibly there's some ability, as one of my bosses used to say, as good as we are, how can we get better? And the two things that I haven't heard addressed at all tonight, and I heard from lots of parents, was the inability to fill special ed teachers' aides jobs. And I have some ideas about how we can get that done. And also I heard concerns about the lack of science and social studies education in the elementary schools. Those were all things that I was not aware of until I actually went out and consulted parents and consulted teachers in the classroom. So as a school board member, I realized that I'm only going to have a certain amount of power, but at the same time, I think I have to have an ear to the community to know what we're lacking. So I think that kind of answers the question. That's the way I intend to operate if I get elected. So thanks a lot.
Tim, thanks for your response. Elaine, it looks like we're ready. If you'd like to start.
Thank you. When I was little, I would talk a lot, and my dad would look at me and say, Elaine, when you're the only person in the room doing the talking, you are not learning anything new. That stuck with me. And it is so important to listen to everyone that comes to the meeting, listen to everyone that calls or emails. Listen to all of the educators involved. Listen to fellow board members and really hear what they are trying to tell you. You also need to do your research. When I first started out, I thought, I am going to be so organized. I'm going to buy a binder for my school board role, and I will put everything in the binder. We get binders like this every month. I have 4 years of binders, and with the world's cutest grandkids on the front. Now, you probably wouldn't have that on your binder if you got elected, but I do. But there's so much research to do. And asking questions from people in the community, asking questions of the administrators, asking questions of the teachers that are going to be implementing the new things that we do. And also being non-judgmental, giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. People are doing the very best that they can do with what they've got. And you need to treat them with respect and respect the assets that they bring to the table. And you need to be accountable and be reliable. If I say I'm going to show up at a meeting, I will be at a meeting. If I say I will do something or help you with an issue, I will help you. And you need to have integrity. Sometimes you have to do things that are very difficult. And you know when you do that, it's going to make some people unhappy. But you have to act on the courage of your convictions and the love that's in your heart for the people that you're involved in.
Thanks for your response, Elaine. We're in the home stretch, everybody. Ted, I think we're ready if you'd like to start.
My campaign signs say common sense and family first, so the main thing as far as how I make decisions or try to is common sense. I think that that's lacking in a lot of areas in life today. And I think a lot of things can be boiled down to that. I don't want to oversimplify everything, but a lot of issues just get diluted with a whole lot of what ifs and therefores. So common sense is my first look to. And like everyone else has said here, the decisions on the board wouldn't be my decisions, but how I would come to my decision on that board would be common sense. I also try to talk to whoever is the person for our district that handled it. When I first decided to run, I sat down with Dr. Snyder for probably about 2 hours. And the first thing I said is what I should have put on my campaign signs is I don't know what I don't know. Tell me what a school board does. And we started there, and I worked my way up months ago. That's how I like to do things. I just sat down with Mr. Street, the chief financial officer for the school corporation, same thing. I don't know what I don't know. Tell me about our budget. And that's how I like to operate. There'll be people on the board, if I'm lucky enough to get elected, they'll have experiences I don't know dealing with that. I'm not going to check my common sense at the door when I'm going to talk to people. But I'll definitely need that experience and advice to add to what I come to the table with. I guess that's sums up for the most part. Other than the other thing is never sacrifice your principles. Whatever the decision is, even if you're the lone yes vote or the lone no vote, don't sacrifice your principles.
And thanks for your response. All right, Misty, when we get this reset, you'll be up next. And we're ready now.
Well, since this is our wrap-up, I want to say thank you to NAFCEA for this opportunity, to the community members for attending and taking time to listen. For those of you that will be listening later, also thank you. Thank you to everybody at this table for investing in our schools with your time and effort. I have very specific ideas of what it means to be a good leader. To me, a good leader makes space for everyone to do their best work. I think that this means making space on our board, finding a superintendent that operates that way as well. I think that our priorities, as far as I imagine at this point, our priorities are going to have to be searching for a top-notch superintendent who's going to allow our incredible administrators to lead with respect and encouragement. I think that we're going to have a long road of battling COVID recovery. Math and reading recovery efforts are going to be going on for a while. I think that working to improve workplace quality for teachers, staff, bus drivers, etc., as we see now more than ever how important those efforts are going to be important to combat shortages. I firmly believe that it's in the best interest of all of our stakeholders to nurture relationships, and I intend to solicit the support and input from civil servants, teachers, staff, administrators, parents, businesses, and the community at large. Our schools impact every aspect of the health and well-being of our community and the local economy, and it's time to work to broaden the understanding of our schools' strengths and challenges to the general public. In my experience with the school safety referendum, I learned that there is a definite breakdown, a serious communication gap between what happens in our classrooms and what the public knows. I mean, unless you're in there, you don't really experience that firsthand. And I think that bringing all of the stakeholders to the table is what we have to do to foster and build those relationships. So thank you again for your time tonight. This forum especially is very important because these seats are nonpartisan. They don't really get the attention that they deserve. If you're a person who feels strongly about the role of your school board, I would encourage you all to leave here and call 15 of your friends and encourage them to also pay attention, explain to them why this is important and how it operates, because they'll have to go search for those options on their ballot. So, thank you.
Thanks for your response. Misty? We're down to the last two, everybody. Here we go. All right, Randy.
All right. I think to answer this question, I need to say I will always be ready to listen to everybody who has concerns when setting policy. Students, parents, teachers, administrators, taxpayers, community members. In the end, however, it's the children's best interest that has to be served. And it's pretty common knowledge that budgets are often the driver of policy decisions. And that's just the truth of the matter. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I have experience and I have ideas that I want to bring to the table. And I think that broad amount of experience I have outside of this school system can help us and can strengthen us. I want to work with the board to find real solutions that work. Overall, we have great schools. People move to our county, they look at our schools, they look at our property tax rate, they look at our school system and see what they're getting for their dollar. And it's a pretty good deal. Folks are moving here in droves. We all know that education is a key for success for kids, but it's also for us as Floyd Countyans. Success for our children is a victory for everybody. And I believe in strong public schools. I just want to finish by thanking the Education Association, and may God bless our children and keep them safe.
Randy, thanks for your response. And JR, as soon as we have that ready.
Since I'm last, I think everyone wants 5 minutes on this one, right?
Good try. 3 minutes. Go.
All right. How I would make decisions as a board member would be based on efficiency. There's not time to not know where people are. I think it's very important to be like, here's where my heart is. Here's what I know from experience. Where is everybody at? And getting that information on the table instead of playing games of, well, if I do this, I think being efficient as a board member is very important. And then building in time also to evaluate all the information that people bring to the table, collaborate, and come with the best decision for our students, for our families, for our teachers, our administrators, and making the decision. Working together is imperative. I do believe there's been some dysfunction across several school districts in Kentucky and Indiana, to where a lot of political issues have come up over the past few years, and working together as a cohesive unit is important in any team, in any organization. That's critical. As far as how I see myself as a board member, why I want to run and why I feel I have the capacity to serve this community, is I'm passionate about kids being successful. I don't care what they look like, what they believe, where they come from, how much they have, how much they don't have. I want them to be successful when they leave the doors from their high school. If we retain the best teachers, our students win. And if we build a culture in our buildings where our teachers are valued, and they're the professional and like, hey, do you, kill it in the classroom, that's why we hired you, and they have an autonomy to do their job, our teachers will win. And if we support projects as a board, as board members that develop opportunities like the new building at Prosser and the pathways they have there, investing in as much as we can into more activities for kids to get involved with. There's no doubt, and there's plenty of data that proves students that are involved in extracurricular activities are better students and better mental and emotionally. They have better health. And being able to create and foster that, then Floyd County wins. And if we're able to do those things as a school board, then we're going to be headed in a direction that will make us the best in this whole area and continue where Randy said people will come to our county in droves as they do now to be a part of our schools.
Thank you very much for your response. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, you have been great tonight. Wonderful listeners. We really appreciate that. What these ladies and gentlemen on the stage have done this evening is not easy in any way, shape, or form, and it will not be easy. Whether they're elected or they are not elected, it will not be easy. So we really need to give all these folks a very large round of applause. Thank you for your time. We look forward to the election. Now I'm going to welcome Lisa McIntyre briefly, our NAFCA president, back to the podium for just a couple of closing remarks.
Oh man, I'm on a timer too.
So thank you for showing up tonight for us. We want to thank our audience members also for showing up and showing an interest in the future of the corporation. We all have the same goals, which is to keep our children safe in a high-quality educational environment. And we want to say thank you to our teachers and staff for their tireless work. Now, Mary has a pink box outside the doors that if you have any questions that you want to send to these folks right here, she's going to spend the weekend putting them in a spreadsheet or whatever she's going to do with them and send them to them so they can answer them, and we'll get them posted back out as well. So, pink box, paper, pencil, everything's in the pink box, right? Did I get that? Okay. Let's make sure I got my message straight. Yep. We've got a special thanks for Christy for being our timekeeper. Jen London's checking the camera, watching it for us so we can... we will get the video posted onto either YouTube or Facebook or somewhere. For those people that weren't here, your friends, you can let them know that it'll be posted later. Or if you want to go back and sit and listen to it again, because I'm not sure some of these yet, I'm still don't know what I'm doing. And Crit Fisher, thank you for the lights and the sound so that we had a way to do this tonight. Is that all of my reminders? Okay, except this lovely lady right here, Mary Arnold, we wouldn't have been able to do this tonight. So, don't forget to vote early or by November 8th. Thank you.